I think the shed has abounded in crazy characters over the years. Probably there's been more crazy characters than normal characters down here. Names that come to mind are the likes of John the Muslim and his dog Stupid. And of course there's larger than life characters such as Unk and Basil and to a degree Hank as well. But no, the number of characters down here are absolutely endless. The shed has been here for nigh on 100 years and it's perfectly placed on a magnificent piece of foreshore, and it's become, I suppose, for generations sort of the epicentre for a whole host of Huckleberry Finns and Tom Sawyers and the female equivalent of that, or those. So it's just been an integral part of people's lives over 3 or 4 generations, and because it's situated in such a beautiful part of the world, people have flocked to the environment, and the shed has always been there. So yeah, it's just a central part of people's lives. Well, the shed is currently in the main a cafe cum kiosk. It is still a windsurfing school, and as a cafe and kiosk, whilst there might be another 30 or 40 of those within a radius of 3 or 4 kilometres, there's no cafe anywhere near like SHQ. I mean, it's a place where you can bring your dogs, and probably a third of the people that come here do come here accompanied by a dog. You can come here in your wetsuit or your wet weather gear, having just got off a boat from the Sandringham Yacht Club. You can wander in as a kayakist who's left their canoe down on the beach, or a windsurfer. As a school, it's the only real windsurfing school in Victoria, and has been that for the last 20 years. So right down through time, since it was built back in the early 1900s, it's been at the foreground of cafes, boat sheds, windsurfing schools over that period, because of all its inherent qualities. I worked for about 20 years in the corporate world, and towards the end of that period I became aware of the shed, and it to me just stood for the opposite set of values that the corporate world did and does. There was something historically special about the shed. There was a wholesomeness which was not just the shed itself, but the characters that owned the shed and hung around the shed. So at that particular point in time, the shed really represented an opportunity to do more with my life and get more fulfilment than I could get out of the corporate world. And I could also see the potential that the shed had for expanding on those values, that we could really make it a place where people were more than welcome, that was always friendly, that was to do with the environment, the outdoor, particularly the marine side of things, windsurfing, boating, kayaking, things like that. So really, in essence, the shed just had this amazing substance to it that the corporate world that I was in at the time, which certainly had its advantages, but nevertheless it didn't really have a soul.